Hello and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines. Protests in Kent and Sussex about rising household bills. Energy, water, broadband and council tax all going up with April increases.
Also, big changes to how electric cars are taxed from today. What it means if you drive one.
And it's spring down on the farm. We're with the newest arrivals making their debut at Seal Primary School.
Good evening. The cost of energy, water and council tax are all going up this month in what is being dubbed as Awful April. A number of events have been held across the South East urging the government and companies to provide extra help for those struggling to pay their bills.
Well, ministers say they understand it's a worrying time for families, but they remain determined to get bills down in the long term. Tom Savides has our report.
Paul Kemp from Rochester fears he will find it difficult to keep up with rising bills. He's a full-time unpaid carer for his wife Sandy, who has Alzheimer's. The costs of looking after her have been mounting over the past few years. They're now about to get even more expensive.
As Sandy's getting more to the latter stages of Alzheimer's, obviously her needs are more. The added pressures are the everyday, day-to-day needs, which you have to do. Washing, drying, all that sort of thing. You know, I need to keep her warm because obviously we're in the house a lot. So it is a big squeeze.
This month, on average, water bills are expected to rise by £123 per year. Energy bills by £111. With council tax going up by £109 per year. £5 is also being added to the television licence. With so many bills rising, the finances of almost everyone in the country are likely to be hit, with some people struggling to make ends meet. In Brighton, Canterbury and Eastbourne, union campaigners have been out on the streets, handing out tips and advice to those anxious about rising costs.
Today we have seen the rise in your council tax, the rise in this utility bill, electricity, if you drive, your car tax, etc. So today they're now saying to us, it's been bad for a few years, but now it's got to the crunch point where we will never be able to pay it, and they will then be in debt. They are terrified of being in debt.
The government admits it's a worrying time for families, but is determined to get bills down in the long term. But for many people, it's the short-term pain they're struggling with. Tom Savides, ITV News.
Our political correspondent Kit Bradshaw joins us now from Westminster. Kit, we've just heard a very personal story there about the impact rising energy costs are having on people everywhere. So what do the government have to say for themselves tonight?
Well, Sangeeta, many here at Westminster are already calling it Awful April, and the government acknowledges that the cost of living crisis is still a reality for many, but the Business Secretary says they're taking action to put more pounds in workers' pockets.
Today, 3 million workers are getting a substantial pay rise worth over £1,400 a year, with the minimum wage going up to £12.21. The decisions we made on freezing fuel duty or making sure that we're still committed to the triple lock for pensioners don't just protect everyone, they protect the most vulnerable. So we know things are hard, but for the first time we're starting to see real data that shows that wages are rising faster than inflation. That's ultimately what makes everyone better off.
On the opposition benches, the Liberal Democrats have called on Labour to reverse the cuts to the winter fuel payment. The Greens have called for a wealth tax on billionaires. Reform UK have blamed the Chancellor's increase to national insurance contributions for businesses, a sentiment echoed by the Conservatives' business spokesperson, who's also a Sussex MP.
Government has pushed up with things like the national insurance jobs tax, the cost for businesses and firms across the country of doing business. And understandably, they are seeking to pass some of that to protect jobs, seeking to pass some of that on to consumers. But the biggest thing the government could do is reverse its 25 billion jobs tax that impacts on businesses, the high street, nurseries, care homes and hospices.
So whether it's awful April or terrible Tuesday, I'm afraid there might be more bad news on the way tomorrow for businesses in the southeast which export internationally, because we're expecting details of President Trump's US import tariffs regime to be made public tomorrow. Evidence perhaps that in a globalised economy, the shockwaves of decisions made in the White House don't take long to reach Crawley, Tilbury or Dover.
Kit, thank you.
In other news tonight, a murder investigation is underway in Brighton. Emergency services were called to Hartfield Avenue in Hollingbury early this morning. A 57-year-old man was pronounced dead at the scene. A woman and a boy were taken to hospital with serious injuries. A 19-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and remains in custody.
A man who sexually assaulted a woman while she slept on board a flight bound for Gatwick has been found guilty. Mohamed Jusab, who's 66, was sitting next to her on a plane bound for Qatar last September. Jusab will be sentenced next month.
Police have arrested a 24-year-old man on suspicion of arson following a fire at a former nightclub in Eastbourne. More than 30 firefighters were called to Terminus Road at around 11 o'clock last night. Crews worked until the early hours and used a thermal imaging camera to check for hotspots.
Train passengers travelling to Brighton this Sunday are warned to plan ahead. Tens of thousands of runners will arrive for the marathon, and to prevent overcrowding, Preston Park and London Road train stations will be closed to passengers until 11 a.m. Brighton station will be open all day.
Rail operator Southern says it's playing its part in the recovery of kelp forests off the Sussex coast. The company's trains run parallel to where huge stretches of kelp were once found. It's now funding baited remote underwater cameras to be used as part of a study into the forest's rewilding after decades of trawler fishing.
Drivers in the southeast thinking of trading in their petrol or diesel car for electric could have to pay a luxury car tax from today.
Well, campaigners have criticised the move, saying it's yet another barrier to EV ownership, but the government says their approach ensures fiscal stability. Chris Conway has more details.
For renewables businessman Connor, an electric car makes motoring sense. However, the upfront costs imposed by government means his dream of ditching his diesel engine remains stalled.
I'm currently paying £20 a year for my road tax. That's going to rise to £21 a year road tax. The cheapest road tax I've found on a new EV is £195. And most electric cars now are well above £40,000. So then I'm being stung with the luxury car tax as well.
The tax changes mean owners of EVs registered from today with a retail price of over £40,000 are now liable to pay the government's expensive car supplement known as the luxury car tax, which costs an extra £425 a year. It kicks in for 5 years from the second year of ownership, meaning combined with vehicle excise duty, the total yearly tax cost stands at £620. With the average cost of an electric car around £46,000, the owners of more than two-thirds of EVs sold last year would qualify to pay it if buying the same car now.
Mr. Speaker, this Labour government was elected to bring change to our country.
It had been hoped the Chancellor would at least increase the expensive car supplement threshold for EVs at last week's spring statement, but that didn't happen, disappointing the Electric Vehicle Association.
Upfront cost of electric cars is one of the key barriers to switching to electric. So many people love them, but they still feel that they're unaffordable for them. And electric cars are more expensive, so adding another tax on top of them right at this moment in time would simply increase that risk.
There are also concerns that a slowdown in switching to EVs will speed up the impact on the planet from the emissions of petrol and diesel cars. Energy experts at the University of Sussex agree.
A lot of the air pollution that we see in cities, the majority, is related to emissions from petrol and diesel cars. And so you'd see an immediate decrease in things like smog, or when you just have dirt on your skin and you have to go home and wash your face.
The government says their approach ensures fiscal stability and points out they've frozen vehicle excise duty first-year rates for EVs to encourage people to make the switch. Campaigners, though, are urging the Chancellor to look again at the tax implications of EV ownership. They're questioning why those who are going electric should pay extra tax on a vehicle that doesn't cost the earth. Chris Conway, ITV News.
The trial of a man accused of trying to kill an army officer in uniform near a barracks in Kent has been delayed due to his poor mental health, the court has heard. Anthony Eason, who's 24, is accused of repeatedly stabbing married father of two, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Teaton, in Gillingham last year. The serviceman was taken to hospital with serious injuries. Eason is charged with attempted murder, but no pleas have been entered and a hearing has been delayed until next month.
Passengers at Gatwick Airport no longer need to remove electrical items or put liquids in plastic bags at security. It follows a multi-million-pound project to transform its security screening process. The airport says the new technology is not only more efficient, but also more sustainable, with no more requirement to use the plastic bags.
Ashdown Forest wants to recruit an army of wildlife champions for a new initiative to help protect its landscape. The new project will see the Forest Centre transformed with interactive displays to help people learn about its unique animals and biodiversity. It also hopes this will open up the forest to more visitors.
Recycling centres across West Sussex are switching to longer spring-summer opening hours. It's to give people more opportunity to recycle their household waste, and the hours will remain in place until the end of September.
Operation Brock will be back on the M20 later this week to manage expected high passenger numbers over the Easter holidays. The contraflow is used on the M20 between Ashford and Maidstone when heavy traffic is heading to the Channel ports, but some have suggested it's not necessary during school holidays.
It's a huge impact on Ashford. We are right in front of it. There's a lot more traffic. Use alternative routes like A20 to avoid Operation Brock. It's scary for lots of drivers. It's narrow road, and sometimes when there is a breakdown, the traffic doesn't move. There's a massive queue.
You are watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Still to come on the programme.
The school lambs of Kent enjoying the sunshine and the attention down on their farm.
And just a reminder, you can find more on today's top stories by heading to our website. Please go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us. The number's on your screen now, and it is 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, on X and on Instagram.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international headlines at 6:30 with details about what's coming up this evening. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the ITV Evening News, it's being dubbed Awful April. But just how awful will the hikes to some household bills be for you? The landmark car loan compensation case reaches the Supreme Court. And the King returns to work and honours his friend and gardener, Alan Titchmarsh. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, public health campaigners are concerned that around half of children in our region are missing out on important exercise and socialisation through the decline of pupils walking to school. Numbers have dropped by a quarter in the last 50 years, while the proportion being driven to school now is at an all-time high.
But incentives are underway to encourage parents to re-embrace walking all or some of the school run with their children. Here's Nick Smith.
Walking to and from school used to be seen as part and parcel of most children's daily routine. But those using their feet from the front door to the school gates are now in a minority, as the car increasingly takes priority. Parents we spoke to outside Hawkhurst Primary School in Cranbrook say they mostly drive their kids due to convenience.
It's too far. It would take me probably 2 hours to get here if I was walking.
I've got kids that can actually walk home, but because of the security reason, I'd rather come and pick them. I stay close, but it's easier for me to jump from work, drive down, pick them, and I think it's like that for other people.
Well, me personally, I do half and half, so we drive 3 days and walk 2 days because I have to collect another child in childcare who isn't in a walkable distance from the school.
Back in the mid-1970s, 3/4 of primary-age children walked to school. But now, 50 years later, it's around half. And that figure drops to just a quarter in rural areas.
The big barriers that we hear about are time, so parents are now having to go off straight to work, both parents. Distance, catchment areas are perhaps becoming slightly larger. Needing to go to multiple schools, perhaps. There are numerous benefits of walking to school. We hear a lot that children and adults are quite inactive at the moment. We need to build physical activity back into our daily lives. It's a really easy way of doing that by walking local journeys that we have to do every day.
Active Travel England is now running a Walk to School challenge, with pupils collecting badges for every journey on foot, in the hope of reducing drop-offs at the gates.
What's your favourite thing about walking to school?
Getting nice fresh air and getting ready for the day.
And who do you walk to school with?
My dad. I can talk with my mum more because we have fun talking together because we like to have a laugh.
It's nice to just get out in the morning, get that early morning fresh air, get the exercise in, get the day started off nice, and I'll get to spend a little time, one-on-one time with Bella and just get an interaction, just us two.
Everyone's busy, how quick you can get from A to B because everyone's got work and things like that, but taking the time out to walk makes the time a bit more special.
We've certainly noticed a difference in our children. They're alert, they're focused, they're ready to learn. They've enjoyed their walk to school, they've had some fresh air, they've had some exercise before they sit down ready for their day.
Distances, safety concerns and work commutes will always be factors, preventing some parents from ditching the car. But those who can walk all or part of their journeys are being encouraged to re-embrace it, for that extra bonding time, exercise and other benefits too. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Now, this will make you happy. Well, it has me anyway. There isn't much that says spring more than the arrival of lambs, and children at one school academy in Kent can see them every day.
Yes, Seal Primary near Sevenoaks has its own farm and 4 lambs have arrived. The school says they're helping children with their well-being and encouraging pupils who are reluctant to go to school to attend. With more, Abigail Bracken.
Soaking up the sunshine, spring lambs, all less than a week old and born at Seal's school farm. This one curious to explore its home, and these children enjoying their regular trip to see the latest arrivals. The farm was built during the COVID lockdown for the use of all 4 schools in the academy.
So why did you set up this farm? So mainly to support wellbeing for children. Post-COVID, we knew that we were going to get a lot of issues with children struggling to come back into school. So that was a huge factor, but also to really enhance our curriculum. And how has it helped? So it's really helped our school refusers. So since COVID, we've had quite a few children that have really struggled with wellbeing. So having the farm enables them to come in the morning, spend some time with the animals and then go happily into class.
There's lots of animals here, from rare breed chickens to pigs. This micro pig, Mr. Gippy, is being trained as a therapy pig, helped by these 2 who volunteered to work with the animals.
I feel quite happy to help out because you're around quite a lot of animals, so it's quite calming.
Yeah, and also because before we go back to lessons, then it's because it's during our lunchtime, we get to calm down and then just get back in the mindset for lessons.
This lamb and all the other lambs here are currently nameless, but when the last lamb is born, then the school is going to hold a competition and the children get a chance to choose the names. But no more Disney princesses. There's a few of them already.
And there's still 4 more lambs expected to arrive here within the next few days, and many children excited to name them. Abigail Bracken, ITV News, Seal.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
The children obviously getting so much out.
Yes, really nice. Obviously a lovely bright day there. Lovely bright day in most places, actually. Holly joins us in the studio. What have you got for us tonight?
Well, I thought I'd start with snow. I'm joking a little bit, but Peter Norman did this morning remind me that this was the state of Hastings 3 years ago today. I did check if it was an April Fool's, and it isn't. It did look like this. Of course, this year, the only covering of white we've got at the moment are the wood anemones. Kevin Harrison took this lovely photo in Bonington.
Beautiful.
And they've been brought out by the warm and mild, not warm, that's the same thing as mild, isn't it? The warm and sunny weather that we've had throughout the course of March, and it really has been warm, and it really has been very sunny, and it really has been dry. Take a little look at this, because turns out the latest figures have come in for today. They're still provisional, but it looks as if we've had 198.5 hours of sunshine. That makes it the sunniest March on record, both for England and for us here in the southeast. 161% of the average sunshine, 11 hours sunnier than the previous record, which was set back in 1933. Not just that, it's been really dry. The 6th driest on record, just 13% of our normal rain. 2 degrees warmer by day, so quite a bit warmer by day, but actually chillier by night. And that makes sense because we've had those clear skies allowing the temperatures to fall away. So a really interesting March.
And April the 1st, obviously, an important anniversary for you weather types.
Yes, I came across this good tidbit for you because it is 65 years ago today since the first weather satellite was launched. This was the picture that came back. It was from the Tyros 1, which was launched today, as I say, 6.5 decades ago, from Cape Canaveral. This is the first picture that was sent back of Nova Scotia and Maine. So yes, the first weatherlight satellite image, which I thought was just lovely.
Doesn't look 65 years old.
Well, it's funny to think that at that time we'd have had no real concept of what the Earth looks like, which for us now, you can immediately picture the Earth, can't you? The blue marble with the green land masses. But in those days, we just wouldn't have had really any picture of it at all. Anyway, we've had plenty of sunshine today. Have we got more in store? Let's take a look.
A heavy downpour will subside and light relaxation will set in. TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
So lots of sunshine around for today, and there is certainly more where that came from. Lovely blue skies overhead. Mind you, we have had quite a breeze around, and if you take a look at the bigger picture, you can see why. High pressure dominates things, but quite a squeeze in the isobars, hence that wind. Now there is a feature moving up from the south on Thursday, which is going to bring some showers, but I think they'll stay out to the west, and I think actually will stay dry and sunny. Out there for this evening, they're not a bad end to the day at all. Starry skies as you push into the night tonight, but yes, we have got this breeze, and actually that will stop it getting as chilly as it might otherwise do, and it should keep us largely mist and fog free, I think, as well. So 6 to 8 degrees to start tomorrow morning, and a bright start to our Wednesday. Lots of sunshine from the off, and that's the way it should stay, really, I think, throughout the day. Again, though, you have got this breeze coming in from an east or northeasterly direction, so it does peg back the temperatures for coastal areas, and of course it just adds to that chillier feel. 10 or 11 degrees here. Come inland, you're looking at highs of more like 14 or 15, possibly a smidge higher. Taking a look at our times of high water, we've got Chatham at 3:53 and again at 4:22 in the afternoon. And I think we should continue to see plenty of sunshine into the coming days. As I say, Thursday brings that chance of some showers, but I think they'll stay out to the west, and temperatures are rising. So Thursday and Friday will be particularly warm for the time of year. A drop in those temperatures for the weekend, but hanging on to that sunshine. Take care.
TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
That's a good chart at the end, isn't it?
Did you see them? The 20s there.
It's like a fruit machine.
Thursday, Friday, happy days.
There's a song there somewhere, but we're not going to go there. Thank you very much for watching. That's all we have time for. Take care.
Bye-bye.